Hey, welcome to the channel, friends. As always, I am super stoked and pumped up to see you. So today, we're going to be looking at some more standard board questions that you could be faced with and when you're appearing before the sergeant or staff sergeant board, or maybe it's a competition for soldier or NCO of the quarter or year board. If that's what you're into, whether it's professional development, promotions, or military news, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you can stay up to date on some future content. So in this video, we're going to be talking over AR 27-10, which is military justice, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some standard board questions, and I'm going to pause after I give you a question so that you can pause the video if you want to, and then you can spit out the answer. And then I'm going to tell you the answer from the book. Along the way, I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks about how to answer these questions and how to control the board for you so that you can have the best appearance. And at the end, I'm going to give you some situational questions that you might be faced with during the board. So let's get to this. So question number one is, what does the Ucmj establish? Right, so the Ucmj, or the Uniform Code of Military Justice, declares what conduct is a crime, and establishes the various types of courts and sets forth the basic procedures to be followed in the administration of military justice. And you'll see that there are several articles throughout. This is a little off topic, but on topic for a little depth and clarity. If you opened up the UCMJ, you'd see articles that go from beginning to end, and some of it is more administrative in nature, talking about doing just that. What is a crime? Talking about what types of procedures need to be put into place. And then we'll go kind of towards the back end of where we normally talk about, we're talking about articles from the 70s all the way through our general article. But there's a lot more to the UCMJ than that. And so question number two is, does a person have to accept in Article 15? So the answer to the question is no. And how you may want to answer this is, first sergeant or sergeant major, no, a person does not have to accept in Article 15. They could request a trial by court-martial. Now, I have seen that a couple times. One time worked out favorably, and the other time not so favorably. What kind of extra duty is an NCO given by an Article 15? An NCO can only be given supervisory duty. And we're talking about Article 15s a lot, so I'm going to skip down here, right? So what article is non-judicial punishment imposed? So under Article 15, that's where non-judicial punishment is imposed. You'll hear us call it in the Army Article 15s. In the Navy or the Marine Corps, we'll just call it NJP. And again, that's Article 15 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, right? When was the Uniform Code of Military Justice enacted? And so the UCMJ was enacted in 1950, not that long ago, right? Only 70 years ago. And it replaced the Articles of War, which was put into place all the way back in 1775 in one form or another. What are the three classifications of an Article 15? The three classifications are summarized: company grade and field grade. What are the maximum punishments a company commander may impose? So a company commander is limited to imposing 14 days restriction, 14 days extra duties, 7 days pay, withholding 7 days pay, reduction of 1 grade, and of course an oral reprimand, and may not impose reduction on an NCO. What rights are given to a soldier under Article 31? So the rights given to a soldier under Article 31, these are going to sound really familiar, is the right to remain silent, the right to demand trial, and the right to an attorney. Last standard question is this: who are commanders encouraged to consult prior to giving punishment under the UCMJ? Of course, commanders are encouraged to consult the NCOs for that soldier. And so normally you will see, if a soldier's on the red carpet, you'll see a first line NCO Maybe that's squad leader, section sergeant, platoon leader, first sergeant, company commander. Normally we're all in there. And so those are our standard questions that we have. I'm going to move on to some situational questions. Your best friend is a specialist from another company. Should this board recommend you for promotion to sergeant and you are subsequently promoted, how will you at all change your friendship? Now this kind of a question kind of dips into 27-10, into AR 600-20, command policy. Actually has its fingers in a lot of different regulations, right? But you're promoted, you got 2 battle buddies, right? And then one becomes a senior. How does your relationship change? And the answer to the question, as blunt as it is you can no longer have a personal relationship with anybody who's subordinate than you. And now with the revisions in AR 600-20, it doesn't just apply to enlisted and officers. It applies to NCOs and soldiers as well. Describe the Article 15 process. Right? So when somebody's asking you this type of a question, we're trying to see and get as much from you as we can about what it is that you know. How much do you really know? So the Article 15 process begins well in advance before the Article 15. Soldier conducts some sort of offense that may or may not be a crime, or is alleged to have conducted the offense. And the commander flags the soldier for adverse action. During this time, a packet is put together that's going to include a lot of administrative data about the soldier, and then any counseling, so subordinate or counselings and any other evidence that may be. And this whole thing is sent over to legal, and they give it a review, they give it a once-over. And then they send it back. And if you have a good legal section, they're going to send back with all the memorandums and all the other additional documents that you need to perform or to adjudicate in Article 15. And this is going to go before the commander, and the commander is going to bring in the alleged suspect. He's not an alleged suspect, the suspect of the crime, and give them some rights. Give them what's called the first read. So they say, you are being charged with these violations to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to Trial Defense Services, which is legal for the soldier, and go over your questions, comments, concerns with them, which most of the time they don't get. Just have to watch a video. And then we're going to come back for what's called the second reading. Second reading, again, the commander is going to issue that same statement. So, here's what you're being charged with violating. Do you demand trial by court-martial? Do you have anything you want to bring to the table as far as witnesses, extenuating or mitigating circumstances? Is there anything that you would like to tell me before I make a decision? And then normally we'll excuse them, and then go back and referring to the earlier question about who they consult. Say, hey, team chief, what are your recommendations? What can you tell me? All the way up through to the commander, to the CSM if it was at a field grade, or to the me if it was a company grade. And then make a decision. So bring that soldier back in. Commander makes their decision. Let's say that they gave him 45 days extra duty, or if it was company grade, 14 days extra duty. The soldier is then flagged again for punishment phase. And then after the end of that, that flag falls off. And there you go. So the last situational question is, during an Article 15 for a soldier who received a DUI, commander asks you for your recommendation. What do you recommend? Now, I'm probably going to do another video more specifically just on this process, on the Article 15 process and the recommendations and the gravity of your recommendations. Now, what you need to remember, of course, every situation is different, and you're probably not going to get a lot of context during a promotion board when given this type of scenario. So don't ask for context. Just give your answer. Now, you need to give your answer in such a way that it provides you room to maneuver out without ever actually changing your answer. So, for example, for a DUI, drinking and driving is not tolerated, right? So we've been talking a lot about company grade stuff, so we'll keep it down here at the company. And so you max them. 14 days extra duty, 14 days restriction, 7 days pay, reduction of 1 grade. Max them. And if it was a battalion, you max them there too, right? Now we're talking about 45 days on everything, right? And a whole lot more pay and a whole lot more rank. Take it all. Because then when the follow-up question is, well, what about the soldier's family, right? Take it all. Take every last bit of it. Because the follow-up question may be something like, well, the soldier's married with kids. Are you still going to do the same thing? And you can say with confidence, yes, I will. However, I would also add on to my recommendation that we suspend the punishment. Right? It's not imposed right now. It'll only be imposed if they screw up again. Right? So you didn't take away, you just added to. It's hard to add to, right? Well, I'm only going to give, recommend nothing because he's my battle buddy. Now you're opening yourself up for a whole lot of questions about your integrity and how you can be trusted to have and impose good order and discipline in your unit. So just a couple standard questions, a couple standard, there's no real standard situational question, but a few situational questions for you to put in your kit bag. Let me know what you think about the content of it down in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, make sure you smash that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on some future content, again, subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell, and you'll be able to do just that. As always, until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.